Hey everybody, it's your boy Laserbeams here. We're playing Civ 6. We're walking through a little intro, my thoughts on the first time you play the game, things you should know as you start to jump in. So we just wrapped up everything we need to do on our first turn, and now we're going to click that next turn button. Boom. We are now on turn 2. You can see pardon, that our warrior can move again. So we're going to keep exploring with him. I'm going to move him up here, up the coast, get a little bit more visibility. Can't move into there yet because of the movement points, but I'm going to move him, I'm going to move him here, so why not? And then I think I'll move him there next turn. Again, look at that. Turn 2 already done. Turn 1. Turn 1 was what? Took us like 25-30 minutes to get through that. Turn 2, like that. Alright, let's keep exploring with this guy. Whales. That's interesting. You know, there's actually whalers on the moon. Well known fact, they carry a harpoon. Unfortunately, there ain't no whales on the moon. So those whalers had to tell tall tales. But they still get to sing their whaling tune, so, you know, it kind of all works out in the end. Let's keep going. This is the way the first turns usually go. Not a lot of action. You're going to get more action as you keep going. Again, here's a good example of, I can't move him all the way up here because we've got this heavy terrain, so what I am going to do is I'm going to move him to these cattle tile first. Now, friendos. Now this is interesting. We've got horses up here. Horses, super important. Very, very important to get good horses. We've also got jade up here. I'm going to move right here, keep exploring. Let's talk about the different resource types. Tree resource types. You got your bonus resources. Cattle, your fishes, your ships, your deers, your rice. Basically, they take a thing that's already on that tile, make it better, right? So we can see here, regular old grassland tile, 2 food. Grassland with rice, 3 food, much better. So they're just nice, right? This is a bonus, as the name would suggest. The next type are luxury. So you see here, luxury, see here, bonus. Things that are luxuries. Your whales, sugar, jade. What do luxuries do? They give you amenities, which keep your people happy. And the last type is strategic. What are strategic resources? Horses, iron, niter, coal. Those are used sometimes in buildings, but more often than not in producing units. So you want to build horsemen, you want to build knights, you're going to need horses. So those are often revealed with technology. You start being able to see horses. If we go into our opal detect tree, we can see here when we get to bronze working, we will reveal iron on the map. When we get to military engineering, we will reveal niter. So it's some important text to get because it's important to be able to see that so you can eventually work them. You need to build an improvement on a luxury resource or a strategic resource in order to add it to your stockpile to be used either as an amenity or for building units. But you do not have to be working that tile in order to get, say, the horses to build horsemen. You just have to have an improvement built on, in this case, a pasture, or for the jade, a mine. Okay. We didn't talk about civics yet. That's what this is over here going on with Code of Laws. There's essentially 2 tech trees in Civ 6. The tech tree and the civics tree. Whereas the tech tree represents the technological and scientific advances that your civilization makes over time. The civics tree represents the cultural and artistic and philosophical advances that your civilization makes over time. Civics are powered by culture, tech by science. We'll get to those in a minute. Both of those are obviously going to be very important because they advance these trees. The reason we didn't talk too much about civics yet, we'll get more into it, is because at the beginning of the game, you do not get a choice. You always have to research code of laws first. It just happens by default. As you can see, there's no other options, so it just happens. We're gonna get to it. Don't even worry about it. We're gonna get to it. All right, so let's keep going.
Here the dark brown amorphous basalt, there the red ochre, and below that again, the slender but distinct lines of the wood coal.
So what do we got here? This is the Giant's Causeway. This is a natural wonder. Natural wonders are awesome. They give you lots of bonuses. What kind of bonuses you have? Well, many different things. If you want to know, you just mouse over this little guy here, and it is you. The Giant's Causeway. I don't know why I'm doing a French accent. We should probably do an Irish accent because it's the, Giant's Causeway. It's just in Ireland. If you've never seen it, it's quite impressive. I would recommend going to see the Giant's Causeway. Got a little cockney there. When a unit moves next to the Giant's Causeway, it gets +5 strength. Boom! That's really good. It's a bonus called the Spirit of Fion. I don't know what's Fion. That's obviously Irish, and I should know that, but I don't. So that's really good. Now, the other thing that's really good is this is going to give us a Eureka. Throughout the tech tree and the civics tree, there are certain things you can do, certain things that might happen in the game, that spur your civilization into learning new things. This kind of helps the game kind of feel unique depending on how you're actually playing it, which is kind of cool. So in this case, we've discovered this natural wonder, which really inspired our people, and has, as this game says, discovering a natural wonder has inspired your people with the majesty of the universe. They're now more inspired to learn about astrology. We've planted the seed that will get them started towards astrology. So that's super helpful. Basically, we get about a third of the tech research force. That's super helpful. One thing you'll notice, pro tip, these starting techs, pottery, animal husbandry, mining, cannot get bonuses from Eurekas. You don't get any bonuses. How do you know if something gets bonus? There's this little symbol, which is the boost. In this case, Eureka. It tells you to boost, you do a thing. And then you can also see this little 1/3 line that shows you whether or not it's been boosted. So that's why these three, when I was talking about text earlier, I said use one of these three first. Go exploring because you might get the boost to astrology. In this case, we did. We'll talk about what that's going to mean for us in a bit when we finish researching animal husbandry. But again, these are the little bits, pieces that the game lays, the little tiles, the little pieces of the mosaic that take you from point A to point, holy shit, it's 5:30 in the morning and I've played all night. Astrology is the tech we need to get us on the path towards a religion. We now have a boost to astrology. So my thinking is now, maybe I found a religion. One important concept that I want to bring up here as we think about religion and what we're going to do as we sort of plan our strategy is how the hell do you win this game? If we click this button right here, our world rankings, this tells us the 4 victory types, which are science, culture, domination, and religious. Science, you launch a rocket ship, well, you can launch multiple rocket ships, but you build a colony on Mars. Build a habitable colony on Mars, you win a science victory. That basically involves researching a lot of technology and having a lot of production so that you can launch a rocket ship. Elon Musk it up for my boy Dave. Culture victory is there's a whole tourism mechanic, but basically it means you're building a lot of world wonders, and you're generating a lot of great people who can give you great works of writing, great works of art, great works of music. Oftentimes religion can play a part in that, so that can be helpful. Domination victory is you own the original capital of every civilization. Actually, I think you just have to own every active capital. I think if another civ owns another capital and you own that civ's capital, it counts. Don't quote me on that, I'm not sure. Doesn't matter. The point is you're taking capitals, you're beating kids up. It's the military victory. And the religious victory is you convert, I believe it is, 50% of the cities in a civilization to your religion for every civilization. Just click on over here. You can get more information about all the different victory types. One thing I will say, in the game there is an advisor. It's this chica here. I don't play with that on because I know what I'm doing. But listen to her when you play, because she's going to give you a lot of tips and she'll introduce a lot of these things as you go through. So, we could go for religion. I could put us down a potential cultural victory path. I could put us down a potential religious victory path. Right? These are the little pieces. This is what we want to start thinking about. Now, do we have to make up our mind now? Absolutely not. You really don't even necessarily need to pick one of these, except for potentially religious, because that's the one that comes the earliest. You can get religious victories. Medieval era is realistic. Science victory you can't get to the end of the game. Culture victory you can't get to the end of the game. Domination victory on this map, because we're playing continents, so there's going to be civilizations on other continents. I can't get to at least the Renaissance era, so I can start sending my homies over to those continents and beating kids up. So again, it's kind of a shifting landscape. You kind of want to have an eye on a certain prize, but you don't need to lock yourself in. So let's keep going. Ooh, real quick, we got some era score. So for my friends playing with the Rise and Fall expansion, finding this natural wonder gives era score. What the hell's era score? Come over here to your history timeline. This is a really cool feature. This is the history of your civilization. Here we go. In 3840 BC, we found the Giant's Causeway. Because we were the first major civilization to find it, we got +3 era score. We looked at the era score over here, right? We need to get 12 to 23 to get, we need to get 12 to get out of a dark age, right? So we're a quarter of the way there. Awesome. Obviously, you always want to shoot for golden age. The more era score, the better. So cool, great, neat. Here we go. This is telling us we got our tech boost for astrology. Awesome. And we discovered a natural wonder. Cool, neat. I'm gonna move this guy onto the hills. Hills give you better line of sight, which you'll see in a second. I moved here, just see a few tiles around. We're gonna move here. We're gonna get quite a bit, and we get that that bonus. So this dude is now much stronger in combat. Okay. Got some crabs up here. Some crabbies. Can't tell if the land extends this way. Let's move him this way. Now, why am I doing this? What do I like to do with my raider? Let's talk about scouting, because we just got our scout. Perfect timing. I'm going to say I planned that. I like to keep my warrior relatively close. because barbarians come. Barbarians are a pain in the butt. You want to have your warrior around to defend you from barbarians. I like to do some initial easy peasy path of least resistance scouting with my warrior to kind of try to get a good idea of where I could found the next city. Scouts have a movement of 3, so they can move farther. They're not as encumbered by moving into heavy terrain. So my scouts I'll usually send out on the more long-range missions to really get a lay of the land. So let's go ahead and move this guy first. I highly recommend moving one tile at a time. Just because it gives you better control, less likely to make mistakes. Okay, so we do interesting. Is this passable? I don't think we can get through here. Impassable. Interesting. What an interesting spot up here. So I was thinking of founding a city either here or here. Given this little spigot of land, that kind of changes things. Okay. I'm gonna finish exploring up here. I don't think there's gonna be a whole lot more land up there. He can potentially then do a wide circle back, so we're gonna send boy this way. What do we build next? We could get a monument. That's gonna help us get some extra culture. You can get a builder, start improving these tiles. We can only work this tile or improve this tile. We'll be able to improve this one here in a minute. Certainly by the time this builder is done, which would be in 10 turns if we did it. If we click our manage citizens, we can see where we're expanding. Okay, so we're expanding to the sugar, which we won't be able to work or improve, I should say, yet. More defense is usually good. I am going to sneak out another scout, I think. We haven't met anyone, we haven't met any city-states yet. That's important. One thing you'll see me do, and I'm just going to talk about it because I'm going to do it. You don't need to worry about this when you first start to play the game. As you start to learn the game, you learn the various eurekas and inspirations and what triggers them. So there are certain things you kind of want to shoot for, certain things that are important. And you kind of also know what to ignore. One of the most important civics that you get is down here, political philosophy. This unlocks your first real government. To boost that, you need to meet 3 city-states. So I know, since I haven't met any city-states yet, like I would like to start meeting some city-states. Also meeting another civ gets you the boost to writing, which gets campuses, which are super important for getting science. Science is very, very important. And you're like, right, how am I going to learn all that? Very overwhelmed by all these things you're telling me. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it when you start playing. This is me. Again, this is giving you some insight into how I play, so you can get some ideas on kind of how to craft all this, how to do it on your own. Pieces. You learn pieces at a time. So I'm going to try to get out another scout here. Now watch this. We're going to grow. Next turn, because we can see, boom. Okay. So let's go check out what our city's doing. Again, I'm going to tell you right now what it's doing because I know how the AI works. It's working this rice. If you didn't do nothing to that and it just worked the rice in the background and just did that, just lived its life, that's perfectly fine. For the lower difficulties, there's no problem with that. Again, you let the auto governor do its thing. I'm going to check because I like to. And just to prove the point, here's the guy, perfect, cool, we want to keep that. Another thing you can do, down here you can see the yields of the city. So this is what the city is giving you in terms of all the various points it can get. And you can see the sources. So you can see we're generating 5.3 gold. And we're getting that from the palace building, because your city, capital city starts at the palace. That's the big building right there. You can click these little buttons and it will tell the game to tell the governor to focus on those kind of yields. You can also click on that to say, don't focus on that, don't give me that. It can be helpful. Again, for your first few games, if you did want to kind of get into the micromanagement of citizens, I would recommend using this first for your cities. We'll talk about city specialization in a bit. For now, for your capital, for most of your cities, growth is important, so we want to work on that food. All right, let's keep exploring. Let's move here. Aha! All right, so we found our first barbarians. Interesting. Interesting. This is a lake here with some crabs. What am I thinking about? I could move my scout here. We got this choke point with the lake and the coast on either side, which would make it very difficult for, well, would block any barbarians from getting to my city this way. They have to come around the long way. However, these barbarian spearmen are pretty strong. As you can see, I've got my scout selected. If I mouse over the spearmen, it gives us a preview of the combat. And yeah, my dude would get wrecked. You can see he's going to go down. He's going to lose more than half of his health. You can see his total strength there is 15. The spearman's is 31. It shows you how that's all calculated. Those are the finer points. You don't need to worry about that. Takeaway is, as it says, major defeat. So if we post up right here, he can just kind of attack into us, and that's not going to be pretty. I think the better thing to do is just keep an eye on this guy. We move here. Now again, these guys only have a movement of 2, so I'm safe. They can't get to me this turn, so that's why I continue to move this way. Let's have this guy finish exploring. Let's get just a little bit of the lay of the land so we know what's up here. Yeah, that looks like the end of this piece. I'm going to want to bring my warrior back down so that he can defend my city from the barbarians. But I'm not going to come back up here for a while, so I'd rather have them kind of finish scouting and then bring them down. Okay, so we can see our borders have expanded. We now have this food. So, again, you don't need to do this. You do not need to do this. I'm gonna come in here and check on this is good. This is what I would want it to do. I still want to focus this because I want to keep the production. If I really wanted to maximize growth, I could lock this guy in here and then lock a guy into here. That's going to give us an extra 2 turns on the scout. And it's actually not going to grow us any faster. There would be more excess food, so it would roll over for the next population point, but probably not worth it. I'll keep that unlocked. I like to keep them unlocked earlier because there's a lot to pay attention to in this game. If I had kept this locked when it would have rolled over, if I would not have come over when we had our borders expand and unlocked this and moved it over here, I would be getting less food because it's not going to move it when it's locked. So I'll keep it unlocked. Just keep an eye on it. It won't move until there's something new, so it won't just pop it around unless you change what your city governor is working on, or if you build an improvement or you get a new tile. That's when it will recalculate the population, what the population is working. Okay. Let's keep walking. Now, I'm going to move here, because again, I'm still safe at this point, because if the spearman moved here, 1 movement point down, he doesn't have the 2 to get in there, so I'm still safe. And I could run pretty far away if he came and threatened me, which he might do. Let's talk a little bit about barbarians in a second. gonna delay me if I move onto this hill. Because I'll move onto this hill for one turn, next turn move back here. It's 2 turns wasted to get back in this direction, but I'm going to because I want to know if there are any sea resources out here, because that's really going to affect where I build my next city. I think I am going to come up here and try to grab something. I don't know if I'll go all the way to the natural wonder for city numero dos. You see? This is why you do that. Okay? Moving into the hills paid off for the patient explorer. So this really casts this in a much different light. Fish are a great source of food. Crabs are a great source of cashola. Huh, okay. Okay. Something to think about. Something to noodle on. Now, we talk about barbarians. So what happens when a barbarian encampment spawns? That's this guy right here. Hang on 1 second. Let me finish this train of thought here. Homies is chatting. What happens when barbarian encampment spawns is drop down, have a spearman at the start of the game. It will also spawn a scout. The scout will then go out and, hey, what do you know, scout? If the scout sees your city, he will get a red exclamation mark over his head. That scout now has information about your civ. He will then beeline back to his encampment. If he makes it back to his encampment and tells all his barbarian friends that there are sons of bitches over there in a civilization that are trying to fight, it will start spawning a hell of a lot more barbarians. You don't want that. Scouts are not good warriors. Scouts can kind of fight other scouts. So this scout is going to kind of have do a little ballet with this scout to try to keep him from getting over towards my civilization. So let's move him up here. And I'm going to pause the video right now. And we will go help you, boy. And we'll come back to this game in a bit. Thanks for watching.